everyone. So today's instalment of 1 Year On is called Retreat, Relearn, Release. And on the 23rd of March 2020, the UK went into its first full stay-at-home lockdown. And whilst most of the country went into a state of shock and panic, and people were asking what they were going to do and how they were going to cope, I felt like my actual prayers had been answered. Now, I'm not minimising the impact that the lockdowns have had on some people or the unsafe situations that victims of domestic abuse have found themselves in. But for me, in my situation, and after 8 years, I felt like this was the retreat I had dreamt about. One of the times that I had left Mr. C before Christmas, I had found this all women's retreat on the internet, not far from where I lived actually. And I just remember thinking, oh my goodness, that is exactly what I need. Because even though I went back after that time, my body and I obviously knew that I needed some serious rest. Here we were with the Prime Minister of the country telling me to stay at home for my own safety because I was pregnant at the time, and also telling Mr. C that he couldn't see me. I was absolutely elated. I didn't have to do the school run to the village that he lived in every day and risk coming into close proximity with him. I could spend all day with my daughter. I had company from my parents. My sister and her husband and their 1 week old baby lived 2 doors away. And so I was able to support my sister in her journey into motherhood. I remember going to bed that day with a head just full of ideas of the books I could read, the games we could play, the crafts we could make. I would be able to eat well, drink well, rest, nap even if I wanted to, and all without the risk of his presence zapping me of energy and draining my positivity. I knew that he'd be angry. I knew that he would feel like it was some sort of personal punishment inflicted on him by the government. After all, he wholeheartedly believed the world revolved around him. I felt the exact opposite. I felt like this was a blessing, and that for the first time we had this safe distance between us and I wasn't going to waste it. This was an opportunity for me to give myself some real self-care in a way that I hadn't done since I was probably a teenager. And even then it was more about lying in bed and watching a box set all day than it was about actively taking care of my well-being. Now, I'm not saying that a good box set binge isn't good for the soul. What I hadn't realised was how difficult it is to show yourself self-love and self-care when you've lived in survival mode for so long. How alien it feels to lie in the bath and relax, or how guilty I would feel for taking time to myself and not being present for whoever was around, really. I knew that I was going to need to find a way to learn how to do this and a way to release what had happened from my body. My baby needed a healthy home in which to grow and flourish. And being pregnant, I kind of rationalised the self-care as being by proxy. It was for the baby, not for me. Having the confidence and belief that you are deserving of self-care can be really difficult at first, and something that stops you from doing it in the first place. But that really is counterintuitive, because the more that you feel like you can't do it, the more you probably need to do it. So even though it was my intuition telling me that I needed to look after myself, I now know that this is a fundamental part of the recovery process. And it's something that we all absolutely must do. You are worthy, and once you start, trust me, it does get a lot easier. Thank you for watching today's instalment of the 1 Year On series. I hope you're enjoying these videos as they're being released. And if you want to join in the discussions and you're not already in the Facebook group, do head over there where we talk about some of the themes. And this video today will prompt some discussions about self-care and self-love, and I'll be sharing some of the ways that I have incorporated self-care into my daily routine. So head on over there. The links are all either in the bio or in the comments, or you can subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching in there. And I look forward to seeing you for the next instalment.